Bet you did not expect to see a new starting five episode in your inbox on this Monday morning. Here we are. Are you cracking a hard cider?
Yeah.
At 11 a.m. on Monday, January 2nd? That's the energy for 2023? I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Set the tone, big fella. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm not apologizing all 2023. You just got to accept me for who I am.
I love this energy. Any resolutions you'd like to share with the people? Is it not apologize? Is that the number one? No apologizing?
No apologizing is on there. More writing. I want to journal this year.
Wow. Spartan Rivals has to love that.
Yeah, I just want to. Yeah, well, no, that's separate. I want more like writing down my thoughts.
Listen, you give the man a pen, the man writes himself a history. That's what just happened with Mr. Elliott.
And my best work comes from stolen pens. I want to throw that out there. My best work comes from pens that I did not own.
Is that a hint that you've got a ghostwriter? Is that what we're talking about?
It's just a hint that I'm a kleptomaniac when it comes to pens. Okay. Don't let me borrow your pen. I will steal it.
I got some pretty nice pen connects if you ever need anything. You can hit me up offline about that. Slide in the DMs. Okay. We can make something happen. My resolution, I have a familial resolution with the wife to see one movie in theaters every month this year. I'm excited for that one.
I love that. Are you like I don't want to cut off our starting five episode, but like, do you enjoy watching movies in the theater?
I'm a little indifferent on it. Like, if I could pick, I think I'd rather watch it on the couch, like stream, like the new Knives Out Glass Onion over the holiday. Like, got a nice little bowl of microwavable popcorn, a blankie.
I heard that was fire. Did you watch that?
It was real good. I really liked it.
I heard it was good.
I didn't like it as much as the first one, but it was really good. But yeah, like occasionally, I think there's certain movies that are meant to be seen in the theater, and the experience itself is enjoyable when you go to like a big movie. So that's what we're gonna try and do every month. Find a big movie.
If it wasn't for the popcorn, like movie theater popcorn, I think that movie theaters would be obsolete.
You also got to go to the right, like there's movie theaters that are just like the old school traditional. It's a theater and nothing else, and now there's like the bar, the restaurant, the recliner chairs movie theaters. Like, I'm a fan of those because it's like you're going to a bar and they're playing a movie.
Very true. And they got like the pop machines that are touch screen. You can get the ice and you can get the flavored like Diet Coke if you want to put a little vanilla razzle dazzle, a little cherry Diet Coke. And then the popcorn. I'm all for that. The movie theaters are getting crazy now. You can get like delivery service to your seat, like food.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, 2023 me gonna see some more movies. We'll see what happens. Also, 2023 me might not lose a bet all year. Great start yesterday. Cash out boy. I had a $5 to win, $800 parlay. Sadly, Cart and I needed Ravens to win when it became clear that Kenny Pickett had the look of death in his eyes. 2023 me cashed out. 2022 me never would have done that. Saved a $300 profit. Now we have money to bet bowl games. Anyways, we're here to talk sports though, specifically basketball, but also tis the season. We got to do a little football here. We're gonna do a lot of Michigan State play in basketball at the Breslin on Saturday. Cart and I are going to that game as part of our College Hoops to Go travel series. We're staying the night in East Lansing, which is going to be extremely fun. And
graduate East Lansing.
Graduate East Lansing is going to be a little. For our sake, I kind of hope Michigan State wins just so that I get happy you the whole time. I don't know that I want to sleep in a hotel room with you after Michigan beats Michigan State on the road. We're going to talk a lot of Big Ten and then a little national at the end. You get a starting five episode on a Monday. Maybe that's our sleepers resolution. We haven't done that in a couple months. Here you are. So topic number one, Cart, Michigan football. We have to just quickly hit on it. You've got the horns up, horns down. I don't know what it is.
It's horns. It's the Horned Frogs.
I know, but is there like a term for it? Is it horns anything?
No, it's just Horned Frogs. That's
in my head. I got to be honest. That's a terrifying thing. Like, I can't imagine being at that stadium and just tons of people in purple are looking at you like, it's so scary.
Yeah.
TCU wins the game. I don't know what else to say. Michigan had 100 different ways to win this game. They don't win the game. 2 pick sixes, a Philly special, a fumble handing off to a linebacker at the goal line. This seems like the type of loss that haunts Michigan fans for decades. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna like break it down too much, but despite what happened, I mean, obviously the controversial touchdown pass to Roman Wilson that was called short the goal line, which led to a fumble. Everything else that might have gone on the field was pretty crappy. Definitely questionable calls both ways. I don't think the referee had a good game. The referees had a good game both ways. Definitely some hard calls against Michigan, but it is what it is. Like, y'all were 8-point favorites against a TCU team. You were given a cakewalk to the national championship, and everything was in your favor. Like, I mean, the narrative that you've made it back 13-0, beat the shit out of Michigan State, you beat the shit out of Ohio State, you make it, you draw TCU, who everyone has been saying is, I think Greg, you might be on the record saying TCU is the luckiest team in the country.
I genuinely believe, and this game reinforced that for me.
Yeah, and but fact of the matter is, like, it's a choke. It's a choke. It's a choke losing this football game. You
That's fair.
you got to win this football game. That, if I'm a Michigan football fan, that's eating at me for a while.
Yeah, 100%. It's a weird spot to be in because, like, there's a lot of times in sports where we talk about like draw, how much that matters in the NCAA tournament for college basketball. Like, there's a lot of times you just get a bad matchup or you kind of get screwed, or like the team you think is the team of destiny just doesn't have the cards fall their way. And then sometimes, what are you doing right now? Are you taking a picture of this?
Yeah, well, I also, part of my 2023 is I kind of want to do like memories. Like,
Oh,
I want to
nice.
make sure I have memories.
You want to remember this moment where you're dunking on Michigan football. Got it. Okay.
No, this is just a memory.
Okay. But no, to my point, it's like it's very rare that you get the perfect draw. And this was the perfect draw. Like, the fact that you got a team that had 1 4-star recruit on it, 0 5-star recruits on it, and that's the team you had to beat to play for a national championship. That doesn't come around much. Football moves so fast too. Like, genuinely, Jim Harbaugh might not be the coach at Michigan next year. They might
Yeah, I'm
have a
hearing
bunch of dudes transfer.
Broncos big bag rumors.
It just swings so fast, and you don't know what's going to happen when it is right there for you, and you lose due to a lot of self-inflicted errors. Like, I don't know. I don't mean to disrespect TCU because I've said a lot of disrespectful things about TCU in the last couple of weeks, and they are a good football team for sure. Quentin Johnston's nasty. I think he should probably be a top 2 wide receiver taken in this draft. The backup running back had an awesome day after the first string running back went down. I thought they out physicaled Michigan. I thought their coaches out game planned Michigan. Everything about it was like TCU played well. That said, TCU also left the door wide open so many times. Like, they turned it over themselves 3 times when they had 3-score lead. I thought, like, to me, genuinely, I think if this game's played 10 times, Michigan probably wins it 8 or 9 times. Like, they just got in their own way and made a bunch of mistakes they're not supposed to make. A lot of it was odd coaching decisions. The defensive coordinator was blitzing in ways he hasn't all year. That, like, what made them successful against Ohio State was they sat back in zone coverage and tried to make CJ Stroud dice him up. And you saw how good Stroud looked against Georgia. That didn't work against Michigan. I don't know why they let Duggan, basically make plays and freelance to one-on-one receivers. Like, that was never going to work. So I don't know. It feels weird. I think blaming the refs is ridiculous. No Michigan fan should blame the refs in this game. I'm genuinely more upset with the targeting at the end than I am with the no call touchdown. You got the best offensive line in the country, 1st and goal from the inch. Get in the end zone. Like, come on. But at the end, that, to me, it felt like textbook targeting. I don't think Michigan wins the game if they call it, but like, we got to fix the targeting goal.
Wait, but that's irrelevant because it was an illegal forward pass.
It wasn't an illegal forward pass.
Oh,
no.
It wasn't?
No, it definitely looked that way live, but on a rewatch, they had never thrown the ball forward yet. Everything had been like passed backwards, so you could throw the ball forward. They hadn't passed line of scrimmage.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So, in hindsight, like, to me, that was textbook targeting, but I don't blame the refs for not wanting to switch a game on that.
In
But
the referees, defense, they've been the referees as a whole have been consistently bad with the targeting call across college football. So like that's like the perfect ending. Like the ending of a game is on a targeting call,
yeah,
and they
it's
get
very
it
true.
wrong. So
And you saw, I mean, Ohio State got the negative side of that too. Marvin Harrison gets knocked out with a concussion and no targeting. So yeah, I don't know. Weird thing, but to me, that's one like decades from now, Michigan probably doesn't ever get back to a national championship. And they're going to look back and be like, damn, they really let that one slip. Like, and to the TCU luckiest team in the country shit. I mean, they played 6 backup quarterbacks in the regular season. Oh, like, are they ever going to play a team that just doesn't fumble at the goal line against them? Like, that's all I want to know. I know they're a good football team, but like, if Georgia just doesn't hand them the ball 6 times, don't they lose by 30 in the title game to Georgia? Like, I don't know, man. I don't think this is like some, maybe it is team of destiny shit with them right now, but I don't think this is like some great TCU football team that deserves to be here.
So you think Georgia dog walks them? Like I saw the spread at 13.5.
13.5 feels like a ton, but I guess my problem is I don't think Georgia's great this year either. Like, I think this is a wide open year, which is part of why Michigan should kick themselves. But I think if Georgia plays their A+ game, yes, they dog walk TCU. You think that too?
I don't know. I got the whatever it is, psychedelic frog feeling, that gift that people be sending. I don't know. Like something in me might have to throw a little bit on TCU money line. I don't know.
You can talk me into that for sure. Listen, if Stetson's just like tripping and falling in this game, then it's time to jump on TCU live. It might happen. They seem to have that effect on teams. All right, let's move to Michigan State. But I guess before we move there, I would like to congratulate you, Cart, because that seems like it was a big win for you, for TCU to get that victory in that spot. So
Here we go.
was it not a big win for you? You've been pretty vocal. You were a frog. You got the win.
It was pretty funny, to be honest. It was entertaining to me. Yes.
Do you have any final words for the Michigan football program in light of this result?
You guys win that game with Blake Corum, but he wasn't there, so there you go.
I think that's more painful than you could have just like really slandered him for Michigan fans to hear.
It's just go ahead. It's funny. You're making excuses to deaf ears. You lost. You choked. I want that to be the main takeaway of this football game. You choked.
JJ McCarthy conveniently has a photographer behind him once again to capture the moment of his sadness at the end where he's watching. They'll be back. He goes to the podium. He leaves after one question and says, "I promise you will be back," for the 2nd year in a row. He's now said that. And his dad's copping a feel on his girl. So quite a JJ McCarthy experience in this one.
It's going to be funny. Like, when kids graduate college and they do like that little cat cut of like their 4 years, he might have 4 years of him just staring at other teams celebrating in the college football playoff, which is dope.
It's a tough break for the Golden Boy. Oh, well, we'll see. All right. Michigan State from one intense Michigan loss to a very important game on the basketball court this week. We did a big preview of Michigan State on our unscripted episode. That's our Michigan State podcast with the Field of 68. That's going to come out Tuesday, I believe. We also just put a Michigan video reacting to their win against Maryland separate on the channel. There's about 30 minutes of that we can get into. So for this, we kind of just want to look forward to Michigan State and do quick hitting thoughts on that game. But I also know this, Cart. When we recorded our Michigan-Maryland reaction last night, you had not watched the game in real time. You'd seen some highlights. You'd known what happened, and you talked about it. But then overnight, I woke up to full paragraphs from you after watching the game in depth at like 1 a.m. So given what you now know, I feel like we got to give you the microphone first here. Would you like to retract your statements on Michigan not being back? Do you have any sort of new thoughts on where Michigan basketball is at heading into this week?
Michigan's not dead. They're not dead. They're alive for sure. So I definitely want to retract that statement first and foremost. I thought that, I don't know, that Michigan team, for me, it seemed like in the first half, they were able to just absolutely take advantage of the fact that Maryland was playing undersized centers against this team. And it was kind of weird to me because as much as I wanted to give Michigan credit for playing so well, and I do want to give them credit for playing well and beating that team. I mean, that was like a never in doubt game from the moment of the tip. I mean, 16-0 to start the game. It's a 30-point lead at half. It gets up to 40 mostly the whole second half. Like like they broke that Maryland team. Willard was sitting his starters in the second half because they were playing so bad, like trying to send a message, and that didn't even work. I mean, it was just bad all the way around. But at the same time, I would still err on the fact that that is more of an indictment on Maryland and how not good they are. Like like they were doing small ball but they were playing like they still had a big on the offensive end. Like they weren't neutralizing the fact that they were playing small ball on the defensive end and utilizing that on the offensive end. And they were playing Patrick Emilian and Noah Batchelor one-on-one in the post against Hunter Dickinson and not sending a double, like straight up just letting Hunter back their 6'8" center down, which was interesting strategy to me. But Kobe Buffkin, once again, impressive. Like that, you were right about that steal and dime, and then the block on the back. Like that was nice. And Kobe looks like a guy. Like just eye test. You talk about loving eye test. Looks like a guy.
Yeah.
Doug is wild. Doug is wild as shit.
He's wild.
And I think he might be. And I think he might be more wild in a bad way than a good way that you like to see.
No, it's very true. The games that are notable enough to talk about Doug include a lot of bad moments. Like when we're not talking about Doug, he's normally much more solid and there's not much to talk about. The games where it's like, oh, did you see what Doug did? Usually there's some good and some bad. I think long-term Doug's going to be pretty great. Like, cause his wow moments are super wow moments.
Yeah,
And
I mean, you can bank on a guy like that kind of because you see the game there and you see like what he can do. But if you can just kind of I don't know the word, like hone that, there's a player there. So like, having that as a true freshman and what he's doing, that's like something. I see why you're excited about that being like possibly your point guard for like let's say he stays, like he might stay. He's probably a 4-year player. He has to be. So
he's not going to league.
Having that locked down as your point guard for the next couple of years is definitely a luxury to have. And he's definitely going to improve. So that's for sure good for Michigan.
Can I go back to Kobe? Can I go back to Kobe?
Yeah, please do.
So I like. Obviously, I wanted a lot of him last year because I wasn't the biggest Eli Brooks fan, and I thought Michigan had nothing off the bench from their guards. Like you got this McDonald's All-American kid, even if he's not ready, get him 10 minutes a game, see what you got. And Kobe was just essentially like a spot shooter guy last year who looked totally lost on defense and couldn't make a three. What we didn't see from Kobe at all last year was any of this on-ball ability. And I think the moment that changed, I'm actually planning to put like a little Twitter thread together later today of some clips because I think Michigan. Michigan being so bad this year has prevented a lot of people from realizing what Kobe's been doing. And I'm not like, people shouldn't pay attention to Michigan. They've been horrible. That's fine. Like they have to win many more games before we should even take them seriously. But when Jalen Llewellyn went down, Kobe has essentially become a total monster ever since. And like, he has to play point guard. Maybe that's a good thing for him. Like maybe he is a 6'6" point guard. I don't know. Like he makes reads and takes care of the ball. Like he is a point guard right now. He also, like, the broken shot at the beginning of the year, I feel like him doing more on ball has helped him with that. He's more of like a pull-up guy than he is a catch and shoot spot 3-point shooter to me. He can still hit them. He's shooting the ball better lately, but like his new role in the offense has allowed him to get to spots that he's more successful in. And I think he has the makings for real. It might not fully come together this year, but I think like at some point in his Michigan career, probably next year, I think he's a first team all conference guy. Like he's very close to just being like a 16 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists guy. And they don't need that this year because they got Hunter and Jet. Next year, maybe they don't have Hunter and Jet. Maybe Michigan's horrible, but Kobe Buffkin's a big problem when you get there.
And another thing for Kobe, positive for me, is that at least what I saw last year in the small time that he played, it seemed like a guy that wasn't ready, he wasn't ready to
Yeah.
be like put into a situation. Like I felt like if last year you put him in the game, he kind of looked like a deer in the headlights. And this year, whether it be because he was thrusted into the situation or, because of, other factors, the fact that Llewellyn goes down and he has to step up. And as a sophomore who basically didn't play last year, so call him a freshman, has stepped up basically.
Yeah.
Like that alone and just where he's at mentally is encouraging.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
okay,
And
all right.
I think
I need to relax because I've just been
it's a lot of
all
positives.
I've gotten out of it. All I gotten out of this segment so far is that the Michigan backcourt is so encouraging.
We got a future for once. That feels good. And it can all be attributed to Jalen Llewellyn going down. As sad as that is, all of a sudden we're excited about Doug and Kobe. Who would have thought that would have happened when Ivy League goes down? I also there was a Doug McDaniel clip. You probably know the one I'm talking about, where he went coast to coast in the blink of an eye when they had no numbers. He was like driving 1-on-5, and all of a sudden, like he looks like he's going to throw this crazy layup together, and he drops it off for a Hunter trailing dunk wide open. And I clipped it and sent it to the Michigan Hoops forums and said, they don't teach that in the Ivy League. They just don't. I just want to be very clear about that. So, okay, looking forward from this Michigan team's perspective, and then we'll get to the Michigan State element of the preview here. But Maryland, like you said, kind of played the Tom Izzo, we're going to let Hunter get 50 game plan. That worked for Michigan State last year. Let's stay home on everybody else. Let's let Hunter get 50. That didn't work for Maryland last night. They're about to play Penn State on a Wednesday. I'm very fascinated to see what Penn State's going to do. I think Penn State might throw like zone looks at Michigan, which will probably be more effective than anything else they could do. But if Penn State, who doesn't play a center, wants to either double and or leave Hunter one-on-one, that seems like a good matchup. And then you've obviously got Hunter versus Mady Sissoko. So does Michigan having the success they had against Maryland, given that Maryland played the same defensive concept scheme that Izzo did last year that worked, does that make you worried at all going into Michigan State this weekend?
Coming out of it, yeah, I'm in a position where I would like to double Hunter.
Okay.
So I'm doubling off of a Terrence Williams. Despite how Kobe has shot this year and shot as recently, I'm doubling off of him. There's a bunch of guys on the floor I'm doubling off of. I mean, maybe a guy like Joey Baker I wouldn't double off of, but with the personnel that Michigan has on the floor, I'd be more comfortable going just full on, just double him and let's see if they can beat us from the outside, shooting, pretty good looks. If they start hitting those, maybe you adjust. But the main takeaway is that if we are going to do small ball, and this is something I think looking before we even get to the Michigan State thing for Penn State and Michigan, you have to be able to take advantage of it on the offensive end, or else it's going to get ugly. Like if you're not taking advantage of small ball on the offensive end, then you get down 16-0 and you lose by 40. Like that's what that Maryland game showed me. So, I'm definitely more so on and even with Michigan State, like I don't want Mady to check Hunter one-on-one. And I might be in the only camp that says that, but I do not want him to check him one-on-one. Even if he does have the, quote unquote size to, match up with Hunter, like, no, I do not want Hunter to be able to have it one-on-one. I'm doubling off of whoever you choose, whoever's better in the situation, and seeing what that team can do from the outside. And if they start hitting, maybe we adjust. But I think the game plan right away should just be double Hunter and make other guys beat you.
I would do the same thing for the record, because you can double off Terrence Williams, you can double off Doug McDaniel, and one of those two is going to be on the floor at all times. Like, even if you don't want to double off Kobe, those two are on the floor more often than not. And even when Joey Baker's in the game, one of them is still on the floor. So I would 100% do that. I don't think Michigan State's going to do that, though. I at least with Mady, I expect just pure one-on-one. And
I hate pride.
I don't know that I'd call it pride, man, because it is a toughness thing for Izzo. You've heard him talk about that. Like, it's a toughness. My guy versus your guy. Let's do it. But it also worked last year. And last year's Michigan team isn't that different than this year's Michigan team. Musso was on the floor with him a lot. I think they had more shooting at the other spots than this year's Michigan team, which might force the idea of a double more this year than last year. But I don't know. I think the biggest thing to watch for that, though, would be if you don't double with Marty's picking up 2 fouls in 5 minutes. Like you saw, Julian Reese got 2 fouls in 4 minutes in this game. And then they had to play Noah Batchelor and whoever, Emilian. And Marty's pretty foul prone in general. So that would be my biggest fear from a Michigan State side. It's just like, if you are going to single Hunter, I'm pretty sure Marty will get 2 fouls quickly. And then what do? Do you have to go small ball, or is Izzo going to say, nah, Carson Cooper, it's your turn? Because that's a scary proposition, right?
That's not fair. That's not fair to Carson Cooper either. Do not do that to that man.
This could be the first game, I think, where you really are like, man, we could have used just like a Julius Marble type. At least last year, if Bingham was getting torched or if he was in foul trouble, it's like, oh, we have another true center. And he's not a great defensive one, but he's a body, and you've got 10 fouls between them. In this game, you've got 5 fouls from a center. And then any other solution you have that's not Mady Sissoko in this one is like Hunter's licking his chops for. So we'll see. All that said, I think you and I both still believe Michigan State should win this game, right? Like we haven't shifted from that. We go in depth on it on Unscripted, but I expect Michigan State to win this game. I expect Breslin to be rocking. I expect the guards to win their matchup significantly. And I think my prediction was Hunter gets 39 and Michigan State wins by 14.
Yeah. And I know last night I mentioned, or you mentioned that AJ Hoggard might have his legacy game at Chrysler. And I was saying that this was a Joey legacy game. I might want to switch that. I might want to go AJ Hoggard legacy game for this first one because, and I'll say this, I think it's going to be either a legacy game or a disaster class because he's going to see Doug checking him. And AJ loves to post up smaller guards and overpower guards.
I think they might put Kobe on AJ. Maybe okay,
not. And then put Doug on Tyson.
Tyson, yeah.
That'd probably be smart, wouldn't it?
So at the beginning of the year, no way. You're most afraid of Tyson getting 20 and cooking you off the dribble, and maybe AJ's in his own head, and you don't have to worry about him too much. I think my bigger fear would be AJ gets going and he bullies right through Doug. So in that sense, it would be nice to put Kobe on him. But then, I mean, again, that leaves Tyson in a spot where he can essentially shoot over Doug as much as he wants. That said, Tyson's pretty small too. Like, how tall are we saying Tyson Walker is these days?
No, I mean, Doug is very small, but Tyson's definitely not tall. But I think that, I mean, I don't know. It goes either way. Like,
Tyson's struggling a little bit.
Buffkin's size would definitely bother Tyson, I think, for sure. Yeah, and AJ could definitely overpower Doug.
So you got to pick one. You got to pick one if you're Michigan. You're not going to take away both. You gotta pick whether you want to make AJ Hoggard beat you or Tyson Walker beat you. I think if both play their best, I would rather take away Tyson and make AJ Hoggard beat you. But right now, Tyson Walker's not playing very well or not shooting very well. AJ Hoggard has been great for a month. So that'll be an interesting question for Juwan Howard, how he approaches that. I also think Penn State's a good warm up for that because, like, are they going to put Kobe on Jalen Pickett and make Doug like chase one of the shooters? Probably, right? Like they don't want Jalen Pickett posting up Doug McDaniel the whole game. So
right.
Good lead in for Michigan State there. Listen to Unscripted for our full preview. Anything else you want to say before this game? I don't know that we're going to reconvene. Maybe we will midweek, but this might be our final opportunity to preview this game, Cart. Anything you want people to know?
No, I feel this. I echo the sentiment that Michigan State is going to win this basketball game. That's kind of basically it. I think we touched on everything. I'm definitely interested to see what the game plan is going to be. That's going to be big for me. Like how they come out in before that first media timeout and the approach they take is going to be a big indicator on how the game's going to go, I think.
Yeah.
And in-game adjustments might also win this basketball game, which makes me feel pretty good because prior to last game, I think that was Jawan's first instant where he had kind of an in-game adjustments and made adjustments that worked. I think Izzo's done that a couple of times this year already.
Yeah.
So I'm confident that Izzo can make if it's an in-game adjustment battle, I'm giving the nod to Coach Izzo on that one. So I think that might come into play with this game.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Coaching matchup goes Michigan State's way right now. Although give credit to Juwan for the Maryland game because I think all his decisions helped lead them down that path.
And I would like to say two more things before we move on.
Please.
I can't believe that Patrick Emilion plays minutes for Maryland. That should be an indicator of that basketball team. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. That he's Fashion Nova light skin Jason Wins. That Maryland 1-2-2. I'm sorry.
Michigan
the Michigan 1-2-2 that you praised. I'm disgusted that you praised that. That 1-2-2 stinks.
I praised it because it was different. I didn't praise it because it was good. It worked in this game.
Okay.
It worked in this game.
And I'm okay. I'm okay with that then.
Yeah, the concept of like, hey, we're going to throw something we've never thrown out there before, and the other coach isn't going to expect it is what I'm praising. Not that it was a good zone. So, like, maybe that means Juwan Howard has tricks up his sleeve is the point. If he's bringing shit out he's never done before, maybe he does that against Michigan State at some point. You never know.
Tricks, violence, and family. The three things in Juwan's sleeve.
Violence, really? I don't know that
anger, perhaps.
I don't know that he's that violent. Sweet 16s, perhaps. Those got to be somewhere around here. Again, maybe this should be a recurring segment. Are we firing Juwan Howard after this season? Because a week ago we were firing Juwan Howard after this season. Are we firing him at this point? 8-5, 2-0 in the Big Ten. Is he fired at the end of this season? Okay. We'll come back and check in again next week. I know there was a lot of speculation from Michigan State fans that this could be it for Juwan Howard following his second consecutive Sweet 16 appearance. So we'll see. All right. If you combine Michigan and Michigan State rosters, this is a hypothetical brought to the world by Dylan Burkhart, a.k.a. UM Hoops on umhoops.com. Very smart Michigan basketball follow. Encourage everybody to follow him if you are a fan of Michigan basketball. Or Big Ten basketball in general. He's pretty good. He proposed, if you combined the Michigan and Michigan State rosters this year, where do they finish in Big Ten play? And I think it's a fascinating question because you and I have talked about, we think the Big Ten is down because Michigan and Michigan State are down. And I started looking at what this roster would look like if I was actually, picking the best 8-man rotation from this group. I don't think it finishes very high in the conference.
I was going to say my initial thought was like 4.
I'm with you on 4. Can we go through and say who the team would be?
Yeah. I mean, was your initial reaction like I don't know, like the teams don't work. It wouldn't work still. You're just basically, I don't know, you're adding Hunter and
I think it would work.
Kobe and Doug.
I think it would actually work. So
okay, talk to me on it.
Here's where I landed on the 5. And honestly, I think like either way, both teams could really use like 2 players from the other team. But where I would land on the best version of a combined team this year would be you gotta pick one of the Michigan State guards. And I personally, if I was building the team, I would pick Tyson Walker as my point guard. I would take the 2 Michigan wings. I would put Kobe and Jet right now, who are like, they've been killers for a month. I would take Joey Hauser at the 4, gives you a 45% shooter from 3 with 8 rebounds a game. And I'd take Hunter Dickinson at the 5. So you have shooting essentially everywhere. And Hunter has his spacing. You got your superstar down low. And then the entire bench is Michigan State guys. So
I might put Malik in for Joey.
That's what a lot of people I think would
only because I think it would work better with the dynamic. Like, I don't know. I think you're a little bit higher on Hunter's defense than me personally. I think he's.
No, I'm not high on his defense anymore.
I think he's a 7-foot cone. So I'd rather have Malik out there with him because I think it would I think Malik improves teams defensively. Not saying he's a stopper, but like
That's
it.
fair.
I think him being out there, but I'm not mad at you for putting Joey in there at all. I'm not mad at you for putting all Big Ten Joseph Jabal in the lineup.
Yeah, look, you can make the argument either way, like, oh, it should be AJ or oh, it should be Malik. That's kind of the beauty of this Michigan State team. But to me, the only thing I would say if you are combining the two teams is you shouldn't take anyone over Kobe, Jet, Hunter. And I'm not saying those are the three best players between the two teams, but like you shouldn't talk yourself into AJ and Tyson at the expense of no Kobe Buffkin. Kobe's been really, really good lately. And Tyson can play point guard. So that would be my 8-man is Tyson, Kobe, Jet, Joey, Hunter with AJ Hoggard, Malik Hall, and Jaden Akins off the bench. That's a pretty good 8-man group.
That is good.
But that said, I still think I take them like third high, maybe at highest third in the Big Ten. I think I'm taking Purdue and Ohio State over them.
I see. Okay, this is where I'll differ with this. I think their floor would be like 4. I think they would have the possibility to win it.
Who's coaching this team also?
Shrewsbury.
Okay, so we like that then. I'd say they finished third. I would take Ohio State.
I feel like I gotta pick. Can I get Izzo as the coach, but can I get Michigan's staff, Michigan's assistants?
I was gonna say like we have to pick a generic coach that's not either of these guys because I mean I don't like
Tommy Lloyd,
Tom Izzo and Hunter Dickinson wouldn't work. We know
Kelvin
that.
Sampson.
No, it's got to be someone average like Richard Pitino. If Richard Pitino's coaching this team of 8 guys, I don't know, man. I think I'd still take Purdue. I'd still take Ohio State over that group. But I would take
Ohio State loves getting a little bit out of control for me.
Good team. Good team.
They are a good team. They're a good team, but let's relax.
Good team. I mean, this combined Michigan State team, it might not be a good team, man. These two teams are pretty. I know Michigan State fans think their team's really good, and I know Michigan fans are excited about this blowout win, but like both these teams are really bad. Like according
to
Torvik, both these teams are horrible.
Not according to Evan Mia.
Do you want to do the Malik Hall on-off numbers with Torvik?
I do want to do that because I don't like when you hit me with metrics out of nowhere and don't give me it, and then you just go to sleep, and then you don't even let me respond with my own goddamn metrics, okay? Because it's a lot different when Malik Hall is in the lineup. I believe, actually, let me go and, I love iPhones. You're just able to scroll through messages and pictures that are shared. So you shared with me Torvik rankings, and it actually had Michigan State behind Michigan. Michigan State was at 68, and Michigan was at 66. Yes.
That's because Michigan State's been really bad for much of the last month and a half. But Michigan State fans don't seem to realize that.
And okay, may I go?
Like, who knows? When you get blown off the court by Notre Dame, your team's not very good? Really? Whoa, crazy.
Some very smart individual asked, what does it look like with Malik Hall in the lineup? Because those games factored in, all those games were games without Malik Hall. With Malik Hall in the lineup, 23rd. Top 25 team, Michigan State, with Malik Hall in the lineup. That's a 5-game sample size.
Can we also get the numbers just when they play on a boat? Or could we get just the numbers for Michigan just when Hunter Dickinson decides to show up? Like
if we take the non-boat games, we might be pushing for a 4 seed.
Just like I get it. It's fair to say this team's obviously better with Malik Hall, no doubt. I think the games that were played without Malik Hall were not lost solely because like if you add Malik Hall to the Notre Dame game, they lose that game by 10 still. They got ran out of the gym, dude. Malik Hall's not changing the result in that game. I'm trying to forget. There was another pretty bad-ish one, wasn't there? What's their second worst loss besides Notre Dame?
Northwestern at home.
Northwestern at home. Are they winning that game with Malik Hall? Really?
Yeah.
It's a lot of gymnastics for me,
I
man.
mean, that is a bad loss. The only other loss that I could think of be worse would be like losing to like, I don't know, a directional school at home.
That was really bad for sure. For sure. I don't know. I think injuries are a part of the game. Hopefully, knock on wood, Michigan State has none. If they have no injuries ever, then that team can be a very good basketball team. But last I checked, Jaden Akins was still made of glass. So
I don't think he's made of glass anymore.
that's right. Was he limping against Buffalo? I don't remember.
No, no
There was
limps.
no limp at all?
No, there's been no limps the past 2 games. We are limp free.
No, we had a limp the game before Buffalo. We had a slight limp. Just a little. It was like the Hunchback of Notre Dame thing.
The limp watch is killing me. It truly is.
Can we move on? Should we move on? It's rivalry.
Yes, please.
It's rivalry week. Big Ten tiers. I want to
Can't wait
officially
for you to paint your nails.
No context on that one.
I just can't wait.
That's the Easter egg for any unscripted listeners or whatever the other video listeners. Big Ten tiers. We are at the point of the season I think we can now officially tier Big Ten basketball teams. I have a very in-depth answer to this question, but I'd like you to go first. So give me your official Big Ten basketball tiers, 1 through 14 teams in this conference. What are the tiers?
Okay. And just to preference this, Greg's probably has some tier names cooking up. I don't have names for my tiers. I just have tiers and the tiers that I came up with before we recorded this episode about 20-ish minutes ago. So for my tier 1, you have Purdue. That's it. Only team in that tier. Purdue's in that tier, best team in the Big Ten. I don't think it's close at this point. Tier 2, you have the Illinois, Indiana, Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State, and that tier. Tier 3.
Run that tier back for me. I'm sorry. Run the tier back.
Illinois, Indiana, Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State.
Okay.
And that's not in any order either.
What's that tier? What is that tier? That's just tier 2?
Tier 2.
Would you call those teams contenders?
Yes.
You got Michigan State in there.
That contenders for a top 4 spot in the conference.
Okay.
I think Purdue, my tier 1, I think runs away with this conference. Like Purdue's winning the Big Ten. Like that's wow. I don't feel the need to argue any other. The rest of these teams are just fighting for the 2 through 4 spot.
Do you have Penn State in there? Did you say that?
Yes, I did.
You did say Penn State. Okay, so you don't have Wisconsin or Rutgers in there.
I do not.
And you did have Ohio State?
I did have Ohio State.
Okay, got it. I'm doing my mental math. No Wisconsin, no Rutgers, no Michigan, but Michigan State is in there. Okay.
Yes.
Tier 3.
Next. Are you good?
Go. I'm okay. Tier 3.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm all right. Go ahead.
Okay. You have the look on your face right now. It's killing me. All right, tier 3. Tier 3, Michigan.
Oh.
Michigan, Wisconsin, Rutgers.
Is that tier 3 just because I just named those teams?
No, that's what it was.
Okay. What's that tier?
And then that's just like, I don't know, teams that are just okay.
Okay.
I think those teams are okay. I think tier 2 teams are good. I think these are
bubble teams in tier 3? Bubble teams?
It has to be bubble teams because Wisconsin's in there, but I'm not buying Wisconsin.
Interesting. Okay.
I would also like you to notice that I left out a team because I'm going to go to the next tier.
Iowa?
Iowa is in the last tier in the Big Ten.
Wow.
With Northwestern, with Minnesota, with Nebraska.
And Maryland?
And Maryland, yes.
Okay. And that's just teams you're done with. You've written them off. They're bad.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I think it's not super far off from where I'm at, but it is there are distinct differences. I think anyone who would do this exercise would essentially agree that it feels like there is Purdue, 9 different teams, and then the bottom. Like that's sort of where we're at right now. You can make an argument for
Oh my God. I thought we were going to go an episode without the phrase.
you can make an argument for anybody in the middle group to come up. Here's where I'm at though. And I have to put the star at the top of this before I even say this. But this is based on where we are today, but I am under the belief that Purdue will not end up in the top tier alone at the end of the season. I do not think Purdue wins this conference solo. I think at best it is a tie with a bunch of other teams. I think Purdue's very gettable, Cart. And can I say this even? They're at home in Mackey Arena tonight against Rutgers. I think they lose that game to Rutgers tonight.
At Mackey?
At Mackey, I think Purdue loses to Rutgers tonight. I just want to say that right now. So here are my 7 tiers, Cart, with names, as you alluded to. Tier number 1.
7 tiers?
It'll make sense when you hear it. Tier number 1, the favorite. And right now it's Purdue. Soon that might merge with tier number 2. Tier number 2, guaranteed contender. No matter what happens, this team is in the race for the Big Ten title all season long. Ohio State, alone in tier 2. No matter what happens, Ohio State is in a race for the Big Ten title this year.
Wow. Ohio State in their own tier. Okay.
Yep. 3-0 in the Big Ten right now. They've competed nationally. Holman's always got a team in it. I'm in. I think Ohio State's in this for the long haul. Tier number 3, teams that should be taken seriously as contenders in this conference this season, but likely won't be for at least another month. There's 3 teams in this tier. Wisconsin. A lot of people writing Wisconsin off right now. They're undefeated in Big Ten play. Already have the road win at Iowa City. Penn State. Rutgers. I think all 3 of those teams can finish top 4, but because they're not the name brand teams, everybody's kind of writing them off. People say Wisconsin just doesn't have talent. I don't think that's true. I think Wall, Hepburn, Esigian, and honestly, Crowell is like that 4 is not significantly worse than any other team's best 4. Penn State, I love them. They have a great identity. They remind me of a Beeline team early in that era, and Pickett might be the best guard in the country. Rutgers is so solid. They got dudes everywhere, and they're greatly coached. Like all 3 of those teams to me will be NCAA tournament locks and might hang around and be top 3, top 4 in this conference. So that's my top 3. You'll notice I haven't said a lot of name brand teams yet, Cart, and we're already into tier 4. Do you hate this so far? I want to check in with you.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't, because the explanation of everything makes sense to me.
I like
So
this.
I'm
Okay.
kind of
Okay. Here we go.
I'm a little irked that maybe a team hasn't been named yet, but I'm okay.
So let's get right to it. Tier 4. Teams that were supposed to be contenders, but definitively aren't, but could be if obvious problems magically fix themselves.
Gotta come up with an acronym for that or something.
Indiana, Illinois, Michigan State, Michigan. All 4 of those teams are in this tier. These are teams that I think find a way to make the NCAA tournament. All 4 of them should have been contenders. All 4 absolutely definitively are not, unless everything that's broken about them magically fixes itself. And you could pick any of those 4 teams, Cart, and tell me that they end up finishing top 4, and I would not be surprised. But there's a super long way to go for all 4 of those. Like Xavier Johnson might be out the whole season. Illinois might have a midseason transfer. Michigan, do they even care? And Michigan State's 1 stub toe away from the NIT. So we'll see. Tier 5, teams that just simply aren't as good as we thought and probably won't make the NCAA tournament. Maryland and Iowa. That's all it is. Let's write them off. They're bad. Tier 6, bad, but with a pulse. Northwestern and Nebraska. Like they can sneak in and beat you at the Brez. They can sneak in and almost beat the number 1 team in the country, but they're still bad. Tier 7, Minnesota is Minnesota.
I must say that is well thought out and beautiful, and I agree, kind of.
Thank you. I was not
Can we
expecting.
get that somewhere? Can we throw that in? Can you throw that in a tweet?
We might be able to make a little graphic about that. The
That
current Big
is,
Ten
I mean,
tiers.
I mean, it's better than me going online and looking at Buffalo Wild Wings sauce level rankings for where the Big Ten is at. Like that is an elite tier with elite backing and pretty good nameage of tiers as well.
Wow. All right.
Credit to you.
Let me get on tier maker as soon as we wrap this episode. I'll whip that up. All right. Final topic for this week, Cart. Trap week. It was trap week nationally in college basketball. That's the term that I am coining for the week of the holiday season, where a lot of teams could potentially lose games. Maybe they shouldn't. I flipped on a bunch of games on Saturday. It looked like all the top teams in the country were on upset alert. UConn ends up suffering their first loss of the season. Wasn't a bad loss at Xavier. Xavier's pretty good. But we also had Kansas, who was down huge to Oklahoma State for a while. They came back and won that game. I'm trying to remember what else
UCF in Houston.
Yeah, UCF in Houston was close. Houston survives that game. So I guess we've had a long-running theory that teams aren't that good anywhere. And now Purdue's the only team that's still undefeated. Purdue and Richard Pitino's New Mexico Lobos. So do you still feel that the country is bad?
Yes. And my main takeaway from this segment is because the country is bad doesn't mean that like you shouldn't watch college basketball, but it also doesn't mean that like the NCAA tournament is going to be great because every team is just like at the same level. I hate that the country stinks. I want an elite team. I want an elite top 5. I think that'll make for the better tournament. The great tournaments that I think about are the ones where you have teams like the Duke Zion team losing and to Michigan State or having the close game against like UCF. Like those games are classics. I don't know. I don't see a world where we don't see Houston, Arizona in the final in Houston.
Wow.
Like if I could, there's probably is somewhere where I can make this bet, like a future exact matchup bet. I would love to bet that Houston plays Arizona in a rematch of last year because they played them in the second or third round, maybe the Sweet 16 last year, I believe. If I'm not incorrect on that. But I think those are the two best teams in the country. Those are the two teams that are going to play in the national championship game, depending on how the bracket shakes out.
I think a lot of people might pick that exact matchup. I like that pick from you. The only thing I don't like is that I'm not a believer in Houston. I just don't think this team's that good. I think their only win this year is Virginia, and I don't think Virginia's that good. So, but
tune into the Michigan clip where Greg tries to tell me that I forgot that Michigan had a good Virginia team on the ropes. But go on.
I mean, they're good. They're not great. Like if your only win is Virginia and you're supposed to be the best team in the country, I'm looking at you sideways. Like they've now been in close games against UCF, against Kent State, against Oregon. Like, I don't know.
You're sleeping on the MAC
schools.
They can get you.
I'm with you on Arizona. You and I love Arizona. I'm gonna stick with that. I'm ready to say that UConn though is the other team. I think they do belong, even with the Xavier loss. Like I had that one circled for a while because no team goes undefeated. It just is what it is. Like the same way I have this Purdue loss tonight to Rutgers like starred in my notebook. Like teams can't go 16 games without a stinker. UConn to me didn't put up a stinker. I thought Xavier played great, and UConn kept responding over and over and over again with like haymaker punch after punch. And then Hurley got attack in a really bad time to get attack. And, it happens. Like it is what it is. But I think this UConn team has some special stuff. Like Jordan Hawkins is so special. And Sanogo's great. Whenever Klingon ends up being the dude, like watch out, whole country. Like there's big Zach Edey off the bench vibes with him right now. And then all the transfers they got, like Newton, Calcaterra, like all these dudes just are perfect role players that are so unselfish. So I'm in. I think it honestly might be.
Can you pan the camera? Is Douster behind the MacBook right now? Blink twice if you're in danger.
No, I don't like saying it, but I think if I had to, it hurts me, man. I love Arizona, but if I had to put my money on one team right now, it's UConn.
Wow. That's a lot coming from you. I hope people know that.
It is. But in a normal year, UConn's like 11th in the country. That's why this year stinks. We might get some wild shit. Like we might get like a 12 seed in the national title this year.
I wonder what team. I wonder what teams are going to be 12 seeds. Hmm.
Ah, ah,
Interesting.
well,
Interesting.
fascinating. All right, Cart. Thank you for this. This was fun. Happy rivalry to you. Rivalry week to you. I'm shook right now. I'm pretty scared.
I'm focused on Nebraska right now. I can't really comment on anything else.
Respect. Good work. Any work to plug? What's coming out with Spartan Rivals this week?
I actually got a game preview that I'm wrapping up for this Nebraska game that should be dropped later today. Probably going to do some film breakdown actually after the Nebraska game, which I'm pretty excited about. So be on the lookout for that. That'll probably come out Thursday or Friday.
Lovely. Can't wait. Appreciate
And
it.
then maybe and then maybe some reaction videos from sleepers maybe later this week, depending on what goes down. Who knows? Be on the lookout for that.
Might need it. Michigan, Penn State, big one. My nails being painted is on the line versus a nice tweet to Hunter Dickinson. So stay tuned. All right, Cart. Happy 2023. Happy rivalry week. I will talk to you later, my friend.
Go place your USC moneyline bets right now.